We all know Spider-Man. He's the guy who saves cities, battles gods, and swings through impossible odds. But what makes him so timeless, so beloved across generations, it's not just his powers. It's his heart. Across the comics, the blockbuster films, and the sprawling multiverse, Spider-Man has given us some of the most gut-wrenching, emotional moments in superhero history. Moments that didn't just break him, they broke us too. Today, we're going to relive them. First, let's go back to the very beginning. The moment that created Spider-Man, the death of Uncle Ben. Before he was a hero, Peter Parker was just a teenager, looking for quick money and a little fame. He let a thief run right past him, thinking it wasn't his problem. But that one selfish act had devastating consequences. That same thief took his uncle's life. That night, as Peter stood over Ben's body, the weight of his inaction crashed down on him. It was then he truly understood the words that would define his entire existence. With great power comes great responsibility. It stopped being a simple quote. It became his purpose, his mission, and, in many ways, his curse. Every heroic act from that day forward was an attempt to honor the man he failed. From his greatest failure, we move to his most tragic loss, the fall of Gwen Stacy. This moment is etched into the memory of every comic fan. The Green Goblin, in his cruelest act of villainy, throws Gwen from the top of a bridge. We see the scream, the plummet, and then Peter fires a web. He's desperate, frantic, trying to save her. He catches her mid-fall. For one heart-stopping second, Peter believes he's done it. He's saved her. And then he pulls her up and sees the truth. The sudden stop, the whiplash effect of his web, had snapped her neck. The love of his life was gone, and in his mind, it was by his own hand. He tried to be the hero, but his power failed him in the most terrible way imaginable. That crushing guilt would haunt him forever, a shadow that never truly left him. Even heroes have their breaking points. In one of his lowest moments, Peter Parker decided he was done. Spider-Man, no more. He was exhausted, broke, and felt completely unappreciated by the city he swore to protect. The iconic image of him walking away in the rain, leaving his suit in a trash can, spoke louder than any epic battle. It was a raw, human moment. Because beneath the mask, he's just a guy trying to get by. A guy who gets tired, who feels defeated, and who sometimes wants to just give up. This wasn't a supervillain defeating him. It was life itself. It reminded us all that even the strongest among us can break under the weight of their burdens. Family has always been Peter's anchor and his greatest vulnerability. This was never more clear than when Aunt May was on the brink of death. After being caught in the crossfire of Peter's dangerous life, she lay in a hospital bed, fragile and fading away. Peter was desperate. He begged. He cried. He even made a deal with Mephisto, a force darker than any villain he'd ever faced, just to save her. In one of the most controversial storylines, he traded his entire marriage to Mary Jane Watson, erasing their love from history, all to keep Aunt May alive. He sacrificed his own happiness, his own future, his own love, to save his family. Because that's who Peter Parker is. He's a man who will give everything he has every single time for the people he loves. Now, for a moment of pure, unadulterated will, the classic scene. Spider-Man lifting the rubble, pinned under tons of twisted steel and machinery. He's crushed, broken, and just seconds from drowning. It seems hopeless. But then, in his mind's eye, he sees Aunt May's face. He hears Uncle Ben's words echoing in his soul. And through the pain, he whispers to himself, "I can't give up. I have to try." With tears streaming down his face and a raw scream of effort, he pushes. Every ounce of pain, every ounce of courage, explodes into impossible strength. He lifts the weight. He frees himself. That's the essence of He's not the strongest. He's not the richest. But he is the one who absolutely refuses to quit, no matter how dire the odds. The pain doesn't just stay in the comics. Let's talk about the MCU. The death of Tony Stark in Avengers Endgame. After the final snap, Peter rushes to his mentor's side. He holds him, his voice cracking, and says, "Mr. Stark, we won. We did it." In that moment, he's not an Avenger. He's a kid who has just lost his father figure, the student trying to comfort his dying teacher, desperate for a response that will never come. The raw grief on Tom Holland's face broke the heart of every single person in that theater. It was a devastating loss that forced Peter to grow up in an instant, taking on a legacy he never felt ready for. And if that wasn't enough, The MCU gave us its own version of Peter's defining tragedy. Aunt May's death, in asterisk, No Way Home, asterisk, in what might be the darkest, most intimate scene in the entire trilogy. A dying Aunt May looks at Peter and delivers the iconic line herself, with great power, there must also come great responsibility. Seconds later, she dies in his arms. There's no dramatic music. No heroic just the sound of Peter's quiet sobs in the ruins of a building. Just pure, unfiltered pain. In that silence, the boy we'd watched grow up was gone, and a man forged by loss took his place. Her death gave him what every Spider-Man, in every universe, needs. A purpose born from tragedy. And that brings us to the final, most emotional moment of Alwyn that repeats itself endlessly. It's every single time he puts the mask back on. After all the heartbreak, after all the death, after all the loss and the sacrifice, he still chooses to swing again. He still chooses to be Spider-Man. Because that's what he does. He falls, he fails, he grieves, but he never, ever gives up. Spider-Man isn't perfect. He's not a god from another world. And he's not a billionaire playboy. He's just a kid from Queens, trying to do the right thing in a world that constantly tries to break him. And maybe, just maybe, that's why we love him so much. Because in every universe, through every single tragedy, Peter Parker reminds us that being a hero isn't about having the most power. It's about having the most heart. Thank you so much for watching. If you felt any of these moments as deeply as we did, let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite characters. We'll see you in the next one.